So welcome to the garden in January. I thought I'd show you around. You can see everything here is like absolutely frozen solid. You can see this water. And the garden's been frozen for probably about a week. And that's since the last spell of frozen. So we've had two really cold spells where everything's been frozen. And this week we've had some snow. So things are hanging on though. As you can see here, my little onions, my sturgeon onions that are going to be planted out next year, they are still alive and they're going. Got some pansies there which are coming out nice. And as we move along the garden, you'll notice that there are signs of life, which is great. Even though it's so cold, you can see the blueberries there seem to be thriving in the cold. The carrots, they've been all right, and I'm hoping in a couple of months maybe to get some carrots out of there. And you look, and here you can see some kale in the spring. Hopefully that'll shoot off, but it is hanging on. It's very green. The garlic poking its little head through, and they're hanging on. They were quite late planted, that's why they're not as probably big as they should be by this point. Got some colettes underneath here, keep the pigeons off, and they're quite nice colettes. I'm gonna maybe pick a couple. It's my first time ever eating colettes, so a new thing. I think that's what the beauty of gardening really is, that especially when you're growing your own vegetables, you can grow things that you might not have tried yourself. So last year, kohlrabi, not many people even know what kohlrabi is, but if you grow it yourself, it's a nice little vegetable. Here you can see the overwintering onions, and they're hanging on. Hopefully they'll take off more in the spring. And as we move there, the tragedy of the leeks, definitely a one to improve on next year. Those poor leeks, I think I just planted them out too late and the summer was too hot, and just, no, not the year for leeks. The year before was much better. But there is some, maybe baby leeks. We'll have a little look under here. I'm not going to take the top off. It is looking a bit devastated under there, but we'll keep going. We'll see what happens. You can see it's pretty frozen though, so I think I'm just going to leave them on and we'll see what happens. And over here you can see my kind of garlic buckets, my garlic patch, and the hope of keeping the garlic so close to the greenhouse like this in these buckets is that actually it offers us a little bit protection in the greenhouse from the cold as well. Another kind of layer at the bottom there to stop the frost getting in. See some onions that have kind of survived there. Here, little willow. So there's the strawberries, and we've offered them some protection this year, just putting some and I say an awful lot. I have to try and stop. So we are going to go in the greenhouse in a little while, but I just want to show you around the back first. See here that these buckets, again, I've kind of used them as a little bit of extra protection for the greenhouse. These are the ones I planted all year. But we've got quite a few there filled with frozen water. There's not a lot happening in the patch. A few brassicas hanging on. We've got the garlic, and we have got some not celery, celeriac, and there's some lamb's lettuce or corn salad underneath there that we will harvest when it's not frozen. You can see though, it is, this frost is just hanging on. It wasn't supposed to, it was supposed to have blown away by now, but it is just the year. I think it's kind of, the summer's madly hot and the winter's really cold. So it's been an odd gardening year. We've got my first year strawberries, so hopefully we'll get some nice strawberries out of them next year. And the back pond here is just frozen solid. Absolutely frozen. But there will be life underneath there, I'm sure. And if we come at the back here, you can see the wind has blown my brassica protection. These are in the corner, my little brassicas. I will have to put that back on, otherwise the pigeons will have them for dinner. The pigeons have been pretty savage this year. I'm trying a new device out from my videos this year. I've got a gimbal, and this supposedly keeps your camera straight. But I've also tried out a lapel mic. I know you can get the Rode mics, and I might try it, but I just thought we'll just see if the sound gets a little bit better with these Rode mics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chock off the greenhouse door that we keep on for to stop when the wind comes and to stop it coming out. We'll have a little look. I haven't been in here for a couple of weeks. So the pak choi, this is surviving. Still got some lovely celery in here, which is surviving. More pak choi. Got some lettuces that are holding on. We've got some nice lettuces, winter lettuces. So you might just do a little bit of weeding while we're here. And up here, got, I don't know if you can see, up there we have some oak leaf lettuce. It's coming on slowly, and it's amazing that in here, despite the cold, how the pelargonians are holding on. In the corner there, that is some coriander, and that's holding on as well. So it's quite interesting what does kind of survive the cold and what doesn't. Even though it says in the greenhouse it's like at least a degree colder than the bottom of the garden, it seems to just, because plants are quite raised off the ground, it's just enough to keep them frost free and surviving a little bit more. So that's good. So everything's looking nice and healthy in there. I'm quite happy with that. Got some good things going on. Brilliant. Close the greenhouse, make sure the truck is back in, because I've had too many times the glass blown out now not to be fastidious about the truck being in. So we'll have a little look. You can see the grass is very frozen. Have a little look down the back, see the compost. I've started storing up a few buckets there ready for the spring. The leaf compost pile's doing well, and I always keep the height of a stick pile just to encourage wildlife and things in the winter. Give them something to hide under. And then you can see here, not a lot going down the border, probably a lot going on underneath the soil, but not a lot going on in these borders at the moment. You can see the foxgloves, they've done all right. Got some perennial kale there that's hanging on. Some of this is looking a bit worse than we're down here. And then we've been doing some winter pruning, my husband has, and this massive pile is the front. This is 10 years of neglect of the bushes out the front garden, and he's kind of, well, massacred them, and he's going to try and wood chip these when we've got a bit of weather that you can wood chip them. And he seems to have got them all over my overwintering onions here, which I'll have to have a go at them about. You can see if anything survived. Oh yeah, we've got some stuff underneath here hanging on. Maybe it's offered a little bit of protection. And we can't have a look at the back because we can't get to it because of all the sticks and bushes. So he's either going to burn them in our little chimney here. The top blew off and it's got all wet inside. So I've got to dry that out first. Or he's going to try and use the neighbour's wood chipper. I hope you can see some of the results of the wood chipping he's already tried to do. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, a little look around the garden in January, and I'll speak to you soon.